Hashem Yahweh Elohim, Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon everyone who catches this message. It's time for a party. Today's party is called Do Work. Shout out to Akati Deborah. The title of today's party is Anavah. I learned a new word a couple of days ago. Shout out to Kohale Kofi. Anavah is Hebrew for humility. I caught his rising message a couple of days ago. And as always, gave me some strength, gave me some food, gave me something to think about. I'll play some music, wait for a couple of familiar faces, and then we'll start this party because I don't plan on being on very long today. Got a short message to share. This is Psalms 1, brought to you by Cold Productions. Got two in YouTube land. Hashem Yahweh Elohim, Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon everyone who's coming in. 19 in YouTube land now. By the way, we are doing a multi-stream because it's also going over to TikTok land. Y'all give me just a moment after this next song. I'll look over at TikTok again just to see who all is there. And we'll get started. Thank you all for showing up. Usually we're on 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm having some issues with my signal lately, so we've been on a more irregular pattern instead. Looks like around Monday or Tuesday, I'll be able to turn my signal on and get back to business. So yeah, you just heard Psalms 1, brought to you by Cold Productions. Excuse me. This next song is called Yahweh You Reign. Well, maybe I'm not going to be checking on TikTok. I can't seem to get that button to work. Shalom Akati Deborah. 88. Hashem Yahav Alahim. Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum. Wa Rahmatullahi wa Barakatuh. Very tabah to see you, Akati Deborah. Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon everyone who catches this message. Thank you for joining the party. Andrew 888. No, I'm not Frederick Douglass. And it's very rude to put names on people. You don't know who they are. I don't take kindly to that. I don't see it as an honor. Because you don't know what ilk I come from. You see, Frederick Douglass would have told you about the Underground Railroad. And I tell you about people should have just walked west. You don't know me. The handle on this channel says angelic discipline. The things that I talk about are not things that you would have heard from Frederick Douglass. Not only that, of him, I don't look anything like him. It's very rude to do that. You would do better to find out who I am and salute me with respect, the same way that I salute everybody that comes into this room. That's your best bet. Today's party is called Do Work, and it's dedicated to Akati Deborah. The title of this party is Anavah, that is Hebrew for humility, the state of being humble. Most people don't take the time to actually go and look up the definition of words. They just use them however they hear them. A couple of days ago, I was fortunate enough to catch our Kohelet while he was giving an early rising live broadcast. He was in a Q&A session. He spoke about humility, about being humble. Randika, Randika. Assalamu alaikum. Hashem Yahav Alahim, Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon you. Hello, Ganja Beba. Ganja, Ganja, Ganja. What is that what you worship? Came all the way into this room to let everybody know what you worship. That's what I'm talking about. People don't know the meaning of words, yet they want to run around using them. You think only people wearing locks are Rastafarian? People who wear locks, they automatically are smokers to you? I couldn't tell you if I do, because I haven't ran across a strain called that. Do you? Because once again, you're trying to assign things on me and you don't know who I am. You don't know what I'm about. These locks represent the Nazarite vow. Do you know what that is? Our Kohelet It's talking about humility. And he took it upon himself to look up what the word means. Now, if you look up humility in English, that's all you're going to get is the standard known. Randika, Randika, I need for you to go find a dictionary. Please go find a dictionary. Whatever language you happen to speak, if it's Swahili, if it's some form of uh, Indian, or whatever the case may be, I need for you to go find a dictionary. Because right now you are in the middle of miscommunicating. And with all respect, I'm requesting you to stop. Thank you for the compliment. In English, everybody hears about being humble and humility and how it means to reduce oneself and not show one's ego and so on and so forth. Kohelet said, let me look up this word. And a big smile came on his face when he found out what it meant because it was beyond not showing your ego. Being humble means you're focused. It means you're occupied. It means you've picked up your occupation and you're 100% with it to the point where if anyone tries to pull you away from your focus, anyone tries to pull you away from your occupation, you let them know. I know a little bit of Chinese. What does Amitabha or Ametopo mean to you, Randika? Focus, occupation. You see, I represent a group that's called STOP, STOP, looking at sustenance, textiles, occupations, and purpose. So inside of that name, there's anavah, humility. I'm focused on Yahweh Elohim's standards. I'm focused on the wisdom that I received from Rabbi Kakadesh. I'm focused on living my life according to the example set by Yahashua HaMashiach. I'm a very humble man, and I've been one for a very long time. Ausu bilahi mina shaitan arajim. Seek the protection of our Father against shaitan and his evil ways while we travel along the divine path. We recite surah, psalms, and prayers in order to become closer with our Creator, to draw nearer to Him. You ask a lot of rude questions, Randika. Basmillahi ar-Rahmani ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmani ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. Sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim. Wala dallin. Ameen. In the name of our Father, the most merciful, the most compassionate, Lord over all worlds, creator of our divine path, the Deen. I ask you to forgive me anytime I disobey you the way others have disobeyed before. I ask that you show me how to forgive others the way that you forgive me. And I thank you for giving us the divine path. I mean, it is said that when we pass away from this earthly realm, we will have our chance to meet our Maker, and we will be asked, have you heard Al Fatiha? If you've been listening for the last 2 or 3 minutes, then yes, you've heard Al Fatiha in both Farsi tongue and also in English. I say Farsi because people are incorrect when they call it Arabic. An Arab, or a person who does Arabic things, is a nomad. Not all nomads speak Farsi. Farsi is another way of saying Persian. Al Fatiha is the opening surah to the Quran. If you'd like to know more, you can go to Quran.com. 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 You can visit that website and see each and every one of the surah out of the Quran. You can hear it in Farsi tongue. You can see it in characters written in Farsi. And then you can read it in English as well. Randika Randika asked me how old I am. I'm older than dirt. There was darkness, there was light, something else happened. Then there was dirt. I'm younger than light and older than dirt. That's all you need to know. Stop asking rude questions. Focused, occupied. When I open my eyes for the day, I say, I come from our Creator, I shall return to our Creator, and may our Creator be pleased when I return. I mean, and then I set about my tasks for the day. Because immediately I go to work. Doesn't mean I'm clocking in somewhere. I'm at work right now. A couple of days ago, actually a couple of nights ago, opened up the Bible to read about Prophet Elijah. Allahu Sallallahu wa Salam. Father's peace be upon him, all prophets before him, and all prophets after him. I went to read about Elijah to refresh my memory because he's actually my favorite prophet. And someone had mentioned in a remark to me when I called them out on something, he said, "You're not Elijah and I'm not a raven. Won't tell you I beg to differ. Instead, I let the person say their piece, and I went back to study to find out what was he talking about. It's the first part of the story of Elijah. First Kings, chapter 17. It opens up telling you. And then there's Elijah from a town that starts with a T. I forgot what it's called right now. And then it goes straight into talking about what he did. You see, Elijah was one of those prophets that wouldn't tell you some happy, happy, feel good messages. He shot it to you straight. If you were doing things that are displeasing to Yahweh, he would tell you right then and there. Wasn't gonna wait. Wait for what? The first task that it was telling about Elijah was that he was talking to this king who was married to Jezebel. Told that king there's going to be a drought in this land. Of course, the king laughed at him. He said, "Whatever, man." So Elijah was directed to go and stay out in the wilderness. He would be fed when the sun came up, and when the sun went down, ravens would come and bring him food. He was to sit by a brook, and that's where he would get his water. And once that brook dried up, was a sign that the drought had started. I read that passage about 3 times before I went on with the rest of the stories. Occupation, occupied, do work. See, I'm not here trying to find somebody to give me a stack of dollar bills. It's called toil. You know, I have real work that I was called to do, that I must do. You know, I almost didn't do this live. I had to tell myself, hey, you know you have work to do. And that's no joke. I almost did not come on today for all the fighting that I have to do in order to get in front of you all's faces. So you don't know about behind the scenes. You just see the results of my work. Man told me, "You're not Elijah and I'm not a raven." Ah, ah, ah. That was the funniest thing I've heard in a long time. So I sent a picture of the Bible open to First Kings 17. 2 pages. Snap. Sent it to him. Told him you might want to check your words. See, he's a man of the cloth. However, he's misguided. So I have to be about my work, which is bringing corrective messages. That's my work. That's why I love Elijah and the one he trained, Elisha. Love Micaiah. There's quite a few prophets in Kings. And then as you read through, it's telling you about all the different kings that were representing Israel and Judah and how they were doing evil in the sight of the Lord. And every time I would tell one of the stories, it would go all the way up to how that king passed away. Very few of them passed away from natural causes. And then at the end of their story, it would say, if you want to know more about their deeds, go and read Chronicles. So after I got through with First Kings, flipped ahead, and I saw that the book of Ezra and the book of Nehemiah at one time were actually one scroll together. It had been broken apart. So you got First Kings, Second Kings, and then you got Ezra and you got Nehemiah. There's your chronological order, bringing you out of what was happening with Saul and David all the way up to what was going on in Nehemiah. Now I didn't read Ezra and Nehemiah. I went back and looked at First Chronicles because I wanted to follow the directions, and the directions said, if you want to know more, go look at Chronicles. So I did. Elijah is mentioned once. However, everything that was going on in Chronicles was the same thing that was going on in Kings. It was a mirror. And I remember that from when I was young, reading through the Bible. And I noticed there were places where things were repetitive. It wasn't the same exact words, it wasn't the same exact story. However, it was very, very similar. Focus, occupation. I get questioned sometimes. Why is it that I make it my duty to pass along the message? I hear people tell me all the time, well, I wouldn't even deal with that person. Well, that's on you. You weren't called for this. You see, if I don't pass the message, I would be damning myself. If I don't pass the message, that means I'm falling short of the target. There is one target. Serve Yahweh Elohim with your talents. That's for each and every one of us. Some of us answer the call, and when we do, we have to make that our daily duty, not just for 5 minutes, all day, checking self and others, all day, every day. I've been waiting for a week because I'm supposed to have a conversation with someone. And I even put in a request. I need for you to set aside 30 minutes to an hour because we need to talk. I was told I'd have to wait until Thursday. However, no set time was ever given. So I got to make a phone call. I don't know where the phone call is going to go. You know this much. I have one more message to relay. And then after that, I'm leaving it up to the will of God. Inshallah, this individual will stop in his tracks and consider Salah so that he can turn around and change his ways. That's where I'm at right now. Got a few more days, and I'm waiting patiently for that SIM card to show up. Because there's a lot of work I need to do. There's a lot of things that I've already done in the past, as far as music and videos and things like that, that need to be uploaded so the message can be put out there. This isn't about me standing at a podium somewhere speaking to 100 people. No, this is me using ingenuity so I can talk to the whole world all at one time. This isn't a Facebook thing. This isn't a TikTok thing. It's not a YouTube thing. It's not a whatever clique that you say that you're in thing. This is according to the will of our Creator. I was sent on a mission. I started my training when I was 18 months old. 18 months old. Spent my life on that mission. And any time that I step away from it, I get picked up, turned around, and put back on course. See, I have a saying. If it's not on the divine path, you won't find me there. I have a mission. I'm supposed to tend to widows, widowers, orphans, the sick and the shut in, those who are in prison, those who are going along a divine path who need resources or help. I was put on a mission to do that. Anything outside of that, as they would say, is not on my pay grade. I was telling you all about an incident that happened to me a couple of days ago concerning me going into a store and a lady trying to stop me, tell me that I would have to leave my backpack, even though I pretty much completed my purchase and was on my way out the door. I went back to visit that shop yesterday. Now, one of the people who's normally there, she was at her register, and then there was a new person. I got checked out by the new person, so I went over to speak with the other lady because she was the one that was checking me out the other time. I said, "Excuse me, please tell your friend that as far as management is concerned, she broke the first rule, and that is get to know your client before you go trying to tell them about some kind of store policy. Because no, I'm not a secret shopper. However, I could be an investor." And the lady looked at me. She smiled very quietly. She said, "I agree." Shalom, shalom, Ak. Shalom. It is very tabah to have you here. Hashem Yahweh Elohim, shalom Barak. Allahu assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon you, your family, and your circle. Triple OG. First time somebody called me OG, I stared at him for a minute. He said, "What's wrong with you, Unc?" Because he didn't know. He didn't know what he was saying. Not on that level. He didn't know. He would have looked at me funny if I'd have told him, "I'm actually a retired gangster. Appreciate you." He would have looked at me funny. I had to keep it to myself. Now, I'm not one of those that was going around banging on people and all that kind of stuff. No. It's a lookout. And I did a few other things too. But my people told me, "You can't touch any of the poison. You can't be around any of the poison. We won't let you. If we hear you've done it, we're going to beat you up. And then we're going to beat up whoever gave it to you." That's the truth. So the first time somebody called me OG, that was in my mind. But I couldn't tell them that, you know. So yeah, occupied, occupation, focus. Right. Used to be. I can tell you about all the things I used to do, but can you tell who I am from what I'm up to? Right? Our Kohelet gave a great message when he was talking about humility, because I've been on that path for a very long time. And when he said to be humble means to be occupied, means to have your focus on one certain thing, that fed me, because that is the backbone of the STOP program. Sustenance, textiles, occupations, purpose. Right. It is a term of endearment. It could be anything. You know, it's like these individuals running around calling themselves gods, right? Or even trying to quote it from the Bible. The first conversation that I had with Kohelet, I told him a lot of my knowledge does come from the East Coast, where people call each other gods. I told him I would never call myself that. However, I am guardian of dominion. Yes, but no, I'm not a deity. So I would never put that on myself. Focus. Now, the STOP program itself started around 2012, 2013. The idea started before I was born. I was raised by a deacon. My grandfather was a deacon, and he also was a foreman on a plantation. He was a sharecropper. He told me, boy, you're not going to grow up to be part of this. Stay in your studies, follow the word. I was the firstborn son of his last child. My mom didn't drop me off at a church. She'd take me to visit him. I grew up reading the Bible. I'd gone through it twice by the time I was 8. I was very close to my grandfather. We lived about 2 hours away from him. We'd go and see him at least once a month, sometimes more often. Y'all see me do that because I keep getting notifications, so I'm swiping the screen. My grandfather's name is Jacob. So when you see me type in the comments somewhere that, yeah, I was raised by Jacob, that's for real. I'm not joking. And I'm not just talking about Yaqub or Israel. I was taught in living blood and flesh, a man who followed the scriptures. And he didn't play. He had jokes, plenty of jokes. He's a kind-hearted man, but he didn't play. People came to him and he knew that they were untruthful. Well, you kind of see where I get my ways from. You see, I met him when I was 18 months old. I was born in Chicago. Mom and I moved when I was 18 months old to the state where he lived, her home state where she was born. You saw the water fountain that said white only. Funny thing happened in elementary school. We had 3 water fountains, 2 white porcelain ones, and then the gray one that had air conditioning on it. So it would spew out cold water, right? They would tell us to line up in front of the porcelain one, girls in one line, boys in the other. And nobody would go to that white, I mean, not the white, but the gray cold one, except for certain lighter toned people. Hillel was also talking about something else when he was talking about humility. See, I don't do the whole black white thing either, because white means clear. So certain toned people would go to that fountain because we'd come inside from playing and they would almost fall out. So they would have to get that refrigerated water. I drank it because I drank it. If everybody was standing in line and that one was open, then I would go over there and drink some water, right? TJ, why are you doing that? Don't you see that weird pink stuff around the edge? Well, I asked the janitor about it and he said it's okay. Well, you see them folk going over there drinking? Yeah, I sure do. And then I see them go sit down and they're just fine. So while y'all standing here waiting, I'm gonna go over here and get some water, right? That's early 80s. My granddaddy was born in 1910. By the time I met him, he was 66 years old. Actually, 68. 'Cause I met him in 78. There's a lot of things he had seen. In 1923, there was a revolt between sharecroppers and some other people who had been giving them bad deals. Granddad was 13 years old, had dropped out of school, and was working. In his hometown, they have a museum. He's honored in that museum. My family name is honored in his hometown. He drank it and didn't know any better, and nobody said anything. For sure, you know those silly concepts. I actually did have a racial skirmish in my own driveway because a guy who was a couple years older than me was jealous for no reason. There was an empty corner lot next to my house, had trees in it and stuff like that, and I had a little three wheeler. We made some trails and stuff, just rode around, played, and all that kind of stuff. This guy thought that my family owned it, and he didn't like the fact that I was so smart. He probably outweighed me about 40 or 50 pounds. Decided he wanted to pick a fight with me. First, I was, you know, trying to back away from him. That started in the empty lot, and it progressed all the way down to my house. Where finally, yeah, I did swing back. So we're going toe to toe. Finally, I stopped and I said, you know what? I'm going to go get my dog and my bat. You better not be here when I come back. Grew up in a neighborhood where if there were 50 households, five of them had a black family in it. Most of the people were very civil, and there wasn't any racism. It came from one particular family. The only other time that I met some racism was there's a young lady that was in my class. She had a younger brother who was in kindergarten. My brother, he was 4, so he was at daycare. We're walking home, and this girl's younger brother was running around us. It was me, my friend, his sister, and I think another a second. Boom. There was about 5 of us who were black, 3 or 4 that were white, including little buddy running around in a circle. I kid you not, he was running around saying, "Digger, digger, 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 digger." Digger. That's what he was saying. Everybody else was getting upset about it. So I pulled the young lady to the side and I said, "You need to do something about your brother." And she apologized. She was very embarrassed. She said, "I can't help it. He gets that from home. I don't agree with it at all." I said, "Well, if you don't do something, he will be taught a lesson early." Next day, same thing. I said, "All right." I skipped school. Went and got my brother from daycare. Met with my friends when they were walking out of the school so we could all walk back together. And I told my brother already, it's going to be this little boy running around. He's going to be saying digger. Why is he saying that? Because he's really saying something else. He just don't know it. When I tell you to, I want you to get him. Okay. So we're walking. We had to get past the crossing guard, across the street, walk down the block, get around the corner. Little buddy just running around in a circle, just having the grandest time ever. Looked at my brother. I said, "Get him." My brother beat the snot out of that little dude. I had to pull my brother off of him. Looked at the young lady and I said, "When you get home, you tell your parents they need to stop showing your brother these bad things because it could have been a lot worse." You see, my group of friends that I hung out with, three white dudes, four black dudes. We wasn't worried about color. My first best friend I met when I was 5 years old, and he was four. All we cared about was riding our bikes and playing with Hot Wheels cars. To this day, you go and you look at his Facebook posts, anti-racist. Stay focused. Sign in for your occupation and do it every day, all day. Anavah, humility. Dr. Charles, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate the gift that you've given me earlier. I appreciate the fact that you tune in, not just now, but for every time I'm posting something. I see when you're giving the likes and all that kind of stuff. I thank you. I really do. It's a shout out to Women in Red and the Brothers in Black. We have a daily mission. And the more that you post showing what you've been doing on your mission, the more I can turn around and post it and make it world known. Because our mission is to make sure that the world knows what it's like to be living and walking the righteous path. That's our mission. Our mission has nothing to do with talking about some president who has 80 felonies. We don't care about presidents. I read through First Kings where it was talking about all different kings. We're not supposed to have a king. And there was the proof in the pudding for all that went on through those kings. Stay focused. We should be preoccupied as it is because we have a standard that leads to our occupations. It says here I've been on for almost 50 minutes. And we're coming up on the usual closing time. So I'll go ahead and close out. Yahweh Ahaba. Our creator is love. Ahaba Ahaba. Love is love. If you see someone who is in need, who needs help, go help them. Don't wait for them to ask you. Don't expect them thank you either. Just go do it. We're doing it in service of Yahweh Elohim. That is complete compassion. Amitaba, Amitofo. That's how you would say compassion in either Chinese or Japanese. Go out and be the reason why somebody else smiles. Go do a kind service for someone else. Go be someone else's ear. Let them lean on your shoulder. All the time, sir. All the time. Open the door for somebody. Step out of the way when somebody's coming through. Doesn't matter how much of a hurry you're in. Apparently, they're in more of a hurry. Let them go. You can wait. Hashtag kindness is contagious. This has been a very interesting week, and I need to make a phone call. I might let you all know how this phone call turns out. It just depends. But meanwhile, many much love and respect to you all. Until next time. Inshallah, Ya Allah, Yu Barik Aluma wa Sahaba. Amin. In the name of our Father, by the will of Adon, bless, protect, and heal the family and community of believers. Amin. Until next time.